The year is 2012. You've just returned home from a harrowing day of elementary school. You grab a Capri Sun and some fruit snacks. You stroll into the living room, ready to log onto the family computer. But, oh no, your sibling beat you to it. That's not fair! It's my turn on the computer! Mom said I could have... Hey, what's up? How's it going? How are you? Thanks for tuning into the very first episode of CTRL+S. I am very excited for this episode because today we're talking about one of my favorite things, video games. Even though I'm pretty bad at most video games I've tried, I still love talking about them, reading about them, and seeing it used as an art form. Nowadays, I'm a big fan of Stardew Valley, and I like listening to music from video games while I study. I'm really good at Tetris too, which, fun fact, is actually the third best-selling video game of all time. And as a kid, we had a Wii, and my whole family used to play Wii Sports, specifically Wii Bowling, after dinner. Lego Star Wars basically taught my little brother how to read. And before either of us had Skype or Discord, my best friend and I called each other on the landline phone after school to play Minecraft Sky Wars. These are my roots as a gamer, but that's just as we consider gaming today. I suppose I've actually been a gamer for as long as I can remember, and it might be that way for you too. Video games carry a more sophisticated connotation than they did even 10 or 15 years ago. A video game is really any electronic game that gets user input and then gives something visual back. But a true video game has something more to it. Maybe it's a story or good characters, good design, excellent graphics. It immerses you in the world and makes you care about progressing, whether that's to appreciate the game, prove it to yourself that you can beat it, or to enjoy it with friends. If someone tells you they like video games, you're likely to think of League of Legends or Super Smash Bros. Before you think of Candy Crush. But I resent that video game purism. The mindset of a true gamer should be open to all experiences, regardless of platform or art style. Everyone will have their preferences, of course, but this obstinate view of gaming shelves both good games and experiences. Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's talk about Club Penguin. Club Penguin was a massively popular online multiplayer game aimed at kids, and much of the content is firmly embedded into the internet zeitgeist to the point that it kind of feels like a dumb question to ask who remembers it. Club Penguin was initially launched in October 2005 by a small game studio in Canada. It was clearly a project with a lot of passion, and the team put a lot of time into making a safe and fun environment for kids to play games and talk to others online. They had a safe chat feature employed which blocked profanity and largely prevented kids from sharing personal information. Parents could also enable an even safer chat feature, effectively preventing their child from communicating outside pre-generated messages. Club Penguin did have paid moderators, but my favorite aspect of moderation has to be the elite penguin force. Players could join the EPF and gain the ability to make reports on their fellow penguins, which essentially created a lightly dystopian digital child police force. I remember being an agent, but I don't believe I ever took it that seriously. I also don't really remember encountering any suspicious behavior on Club Penguin, which may be a testament to either the well-built filter or my inability to recognize creeps as a child. As for the actual gameplay, you could buy items, decorate your very own igloo, play mini-games, collect coins, and get pets called puffles. And it was really hard to get bored on Club Penguin. Some games weren't my personal cup of tea, but the ones that were, I played all the time. The concept was simple, but interesting enough to get kids in the door. And there were so many hidden secrets and real-time events that got players hooked. Figuring out how to catch the big fish at the end of the fishing minigame, or beating Sensei in card jitsu, or joining the elite penguin force, elevated Club Penguin from a flash game to a cultural staple. There was stuff you wanted to share with your friends on the playground, and in turn, that made them want to play too. A couple years passed and the brand was ramping up. Most players will recognize Club Penguin from its post-2007 Disney acquisition. But why would Disney be interested in this property about penguins? Well, think about the Disney you know and love. The creative, innovative, imaginative, it's money. The answer is money. Club Penguin was raking in about $40 million a year, and Disney wanted some of that sweet, sweet penguin-y cash. They bought Club Penguin for $350 million with a promise of more coming in the next few years, and injected the brand with some good old Disney magic. Disney Channel commercials advertised themed events, and more merch was produced and sold. I remember going to Disney World in the early 2010s and seeing Club Penguin merch being sold in the parks. It was going global. And by 2008, it was the 8th top social networking site. And yeah, you could make tons of money off merchandise, but what about the game itself? How do you monetize that? Well, even before Disney bought Club Penguin, there was a membership system in place. You could play for free, but some of the features were paywalled, like certain games, clothing items, and the coveted Rainbow Puffle. Before kids were begging their parents for Robux, they were begging them for Club Penguin memberships. And don't worry, we will get to Roblox. My brother and I got memberships for birthdays and holidays, and we had a couple stuffed puffles. You could get the membership online or buy physical cards with codes. It was $5.99 per month, $29.95 for 6 months, or $57.95 for a year. With inflation, that's about $80 for a whole year in 2023 money, which is kind of a lot to spend on a kid's game. For the most part, this is simply how virtual worlds make money. We're really comfortable putting our money through the internet and spending money on digital stuff. The internet can be a real extension of our digital selves, and that was a really interesting idea that Gen Z adopted so early. Maybe it's because I had a great time with my real-life friends on Club Penguin. Maybe it's because I just really wanted certain items as a status symbol. It brought me joy and probably screwed with my brain's reward system a little bit. We'll talk more about how kids handle ads, money, and online play in a little bit. Again, Roblox is not safe from me. But for now, I want to pivot to another virtual world near and dear to my heart, and that is Webkinz. Webkinz had a very interesting gimmick. Buy a physical stuffed animal with a code inside its tag and get access to the online world of Webkinz, full of games and collectibles. This was essentially putting a membership cost up front. You could play the game without a physical pet, but most of the features were paywalled. And if there's anything Gen Z kids loved, it's cute animals with a tech gimmick, like the iDog or For Real Friends, so this worked like a charm. It had a safe chat system with preloaded messages, and the features were accessible to a very young audience. There were even some educational games in its arcade. The characters are so charming, and the art style looks like a coloring book. The plushies themselves were also so creative. I had a Valentine's Day themed dog that was pink with little hearts, and they were highly collectible, super cute, and kind of reminiscent of the Beanie Baby craze, which probably helped parents get into the idea of buying them for their kids. The game was released in 2005, and you can really feel its age in places, but it's still accessible in its original form. Now called Webkinz Classic, you can make an account and play the old games. Webkinz Next is a 3D remake that came out in 2020 to incredibly mixed reviews as a browser game and app. The new plushies kind of look like those Beanie Boos with those big, sparkly, vacant eyes, and I think the art style and gameplay of Next lacks the charm of Classic, but Next does have a small cult following. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for my beloved Club Penguin. The original game closed its metaphorical doors on March 30th, 2017, waddling on to greener pastures. There was, yet again, a 3D remake, this time in app format, called Club Penguin Island, which only lasted from 2017 to 2018. As I was saying earlier, kids' virtual worlds were highly profitable. So why did Club Penguin shut down? Why did Webkinz completely pivot from their original business? Disney got into the kids' virtual world market as early as 2000 with Toontown, which was actually a year before the most well-known MMORPG World of Warcraft released. Wizard 101, Pop Tropica, Neopets, Habba Hotel, and more drew in swaths of people. Big brands even started getting in on the craze, like McDonald's with McWorld, which I'm starting to think no one remembers but me because it's very poorly documented. Maybe you've discovered the problem in this list: oversaturation. You can hop to different games without buying a membership, or just become largely disinterested due to the sheer amount of content. And kids grow up. Sometimes companies just got in the door too late for browser games. Plus, handheld devices were becoming more accessible for kids. There are millions of completely free apps for download on a phone or tablet, and companies like Disney had the choice to develop a new game for a new audience or run 2 games with higher overhead. And you could always go the route of the 3DS or develop a game for another console. If you do it right, those games can have a lot of staying power. But there's a reason we still talk about these virtual worlds. They were a part of our childhoods in the same way that physical toys and games were. People want to remember them, and more importantly, they want to play them. Fan communities for tons of online games have rewritten the code and made it accessible on private servers. This is a noble effort, but if you're going to seek out a private server to play an old favorite, make sure you protect your privacy and watch for scams. It's important to preserve this stuff because it's a part of our histories and tells us a lot about how we understand the relationship between our on and offline worlds through the years. That's the pretentious podcaster way of saying it, but it's also just cool to hold on to the stuff we care about for the sake of holding on to it. We've been really lucky to have game cartridges, CDs, and VHS tapes. We can pull those out of a box, dust them off, and with a little work find out what's on them, but we don't have the same privilege with purely digital media. This isn't just a problem with online kids games, apps disappear all the time too. Remember when iPhones with Flappy Bird were selling for thousands of dollars on eBay? Yeah, Flappy Bird is an important cultural touchstone too, okay? What if you woke up tomorrow and can never play Candy Crush again? We gotta figure out a way to save these. And I could go on and on about what to do with this problem, and there are many people smarter than me who have ideas, but let's talk about the present day of kids gaming. A lot of kids have iPads, tablets, or even phones, so app games are still popular. I would argue that console gaming is big with the younger audience too. PC gaming is also very big, with tons of kids hopping on Fortnite or, thank God, still Minecraft. Never change Minecraft. Never change. But there's one game that's collected all the Infinity Stones of gaming. Mac, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, iPhone, Android, Meta Quest, and that's Roblox. Roblox has been around since 2006, but it didn't really get mainstream until 2015 or 2016, and it skyrocketed to new heights of popularity in 2020. The site boasts over 65 million daily users, most of whom are children. It's not only a playable game, but a game creation engine. Developers and even random kids can make their own games and send them into the world. It's highly customizable, and it allows for the same kind of interaction, role-playing, and friend-making that the games I grew up with did. However, I struggle with embracing Roblox as the new age kids' virtual world. First of all, Roblox is a kids' game. It's for about 9 to 15-year-olds. But adults play it too. It feels like a shared space, which isn't a bad thing, but that needs a lot of rules. Roblox says on their website that they're testing age verification and encourage parents to talk to their kids about online safety. There's a reporting system, chat filtering, and kids under 13 don't have access to certain features like voice chat. In the digital age, kids are smart, but predators are smarter. That's something the adults in the room need to handle, whether that's teens and grown-ups staying away from young kids in chat rooms or putting safeguards in place. Of course, not all adults who play Roblox are predators, and I don't want to be alarmist, but it's definitely a situation where you have to protect the kids first, whether that's from inappropriate content or scamming. The other issue I have with Roblox is its economy. Roblox says it has one of the biggest virtual economies on Earth, which is very cool, but also very concerning, because they're the biggest children's game on the market. Roblox is free to play, but you can buy Robux, which gets you in-game items or can unlock paywalls in certain games. Currently, you can buy 400 Robux for $4.99, and there are higher tiers, but that gives you an idea of the exchange rate. There's an online marketplace you can buy in-game items with, but there are also alleged black market trading and gambling sites that have sparked class action lawsuits. As for inside the games, microtransactions are everywhere. Extra lives, new levels, and customization options are implemented by game developers to the point where it's built into the structure of the game, to the point where most are pay to win. There are branded game experiences, gacha game type mechanics that resemble gambling in some cases, and lots of games use copyrighted material that kids can easily mistake for the real thing. Engagement and retention gets you more users, which also gets you more money. The Robux you earn can be transferred back into money if you're a developer, but the exchange rate is not 1-to-1. And there is a minimum withdrawal of about $1,000. Roblox also encourages kids to develop, which can be really discouraging if you don't have players and you can't withdraw your money. In order to make a lot of money, there's a direct incentive to implement these systems in your games. When I think of a good kids game, I don't really think of one with pop-ups and microtransactions, but that's just me. There's also a new immersive ads program that Roblox rolled out in July. I'm going to read part of the announcement for you. Quote, "People want to build meaningful connections with their favorite brands and creators on Roblox, just like in the real world. So we recently rolled out our immersive ad system, which lets brands reach and engage our users while simultaneously allowing developers who show ads in their experiences to earn." End quote. It just makes me cringe a little bit. I don't think kids care about connecting to a brand. I think they want to have fun. Roblox's main site is built like a big tech company's, not a kids game. And while that's aesthetically unfortunate, I also think it says a lot about the company's priorities. If you want to learn more about Roblox business practices, there's an independent game journalism YouTube channel called People Make Games that has a couple excellent videos on Roblox. Of course, developers want to make money. Most of them do, and that's fine. But you can do that without sacrificing user experience and thinking of kids first. It makes me sad as a nostalgia-blinded consumer, but I think it would make me sad if I was a parent. I don't have kids, but if I did, I couldn't pass down a few of my favorite games. And I don't want them playing things that make them think they need to pay to have fun, or ones that drain my wallet. This is why I really think we need to be teaching kids media literacy, whether that's in schools or parent to child. I usually hear media literacy in the context of news, which is absolutely important, but I think it's relevant to entertainment too. Critical thinking skills are necessary when you send a kid out into the world, including the digital world. Nowadays, in addition to don't share your personal information or don't talk to strange adults online, we need to teach them to recognize when they're being manipulated or scammed. I think it would be fun to teach kids how to play older games if you have access to old console or CD-ROM games. That can be a fun cross-generational experience to bond over, and it's offline. Or maybe we could try going outside and touching grass like our ancestors did. Look, you reap what you sow. And that's why I think it's so important to give kids great shows, books, movies, and games. It shapes them more than we think it does. There are tons of studies about how Sesame Street improves academic performance, Bluey is teaching kids how to be kind people, and I'm probably the person I am because of Strawberry Shortcake. I'm hoping that as long as we remember the stuff that kept our childhoods imaginative and fun, we can keep making things that the next generations will love. Oh, and bring back Club Penguin. I want to play Pizzatron 3000. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Control+S. I certainly did. I've wanted to start a podcast and a YouTube channel for so long, and I'm very excited that my podcasting class at college has given me the opportunity to commit. Yep, and I'm spilling beans. This is technically a school project. I'd appreciate if you followed me on TikTok to stay up to date on all things Control+S at MAIIZELL, or by clicking the link in the description. And if you have a friend, family member, dog, coworker, or Amazon delivery person you think would enjoy Control+S, please feel free to share it. Stick around for next Tuesday. We'll be talking about how social media took over personal web pages and the look of the early internet. I've been and will continue to be Macy. See you next week.